And all of you know what happened at Roswell, except you don't. You don't go from interstellar distances and just lose your way in broad daylight over the desert of New Mexico and run out of gas and crash. All right, so let's pretend we have a brain. What actually happened, and this is in a document on our website from the FBI, from Guy Hotel, a field agent to the J. Edgar Hoover, is that a special and new radar installation, euphemism, radar, electromagnetic, but it was configured to have this scalar longitudinal energy in it, which basically, what that is, light is a wave like this, okay, and if you have a laser, it's all one wavelength that is synchronized coherently, which is like green or blue or red. That's what a laser is. And this crystal is used to create that coherence. But then, what if you have light that is a point that doesn't have a wave aspect, but it's just a line? Well, now you're going in multiples of the speed of light. And it is. It is not limited to the speed of 186,000 miles per second, but that technology can and has been weaponized. Okay, so now we get to what was really at Roswell that they were experimenting with that caused two ET vehicles to run into each other. One crashed north of Roswell and just exploded in smithereens because it hit the other one when they switched the system on, because it was a fully materialized 3D object, which they are very careful not to do anymore. We'll get to this. The other one continued on a western trajectory and impacted near Socorro, and that's where the little EB, the little extraterrestrial biological entity, was retrieved that you've heard about. That did happen. So that whole cat and mouse game, or cowboys and Indians nonsense, began in the 40s. Now that's 70 years ago almost, 68 years ago this summer. So the technologies that allow for tracking, targeting, and hitting interstellar vehicles has gone through multiple generations of refinement. And I won't bore you, we don't have enough time to go into all the information we've collected on this, but just from an operational fund of knowledge you all need to have. A man that I know who was an electronics genius had a corporation that developed a neutrino light detector. And what that was his way of expressing when an object is not fully in the 3D, it's not fully materialized, it moves as it begins to cross from the transdimensional world, which is closely approximated to what you would call astral dream body energy. You're going to find out in a minute why they call dreamland out here at Area 51. That spacecraft, as it steps down, as it were, from the energy and resonant field that's transdimensional and non-materialized, releases a burst of this neutrino energy, or neutrino light, that this man, not for that purpose, for other research purposes, had invented a detector for. But in 1974, I believe it was, he was hit with a national security order, a national security order, NSO, so that technology was seized and put on all the NRO satellites, National Reconnaissance Office. So now we have a geosynchronous position satellite system that looks not only towards Earth but out into space with these detectors that can pick up an ET craft when it's stepping down out of transdimensional space, we'll discuss this, or hyperdimensional, into 3D, and then lock on it, and they will then attempt to hit it with one of these scalar longitudinal weapons, and sometimes with EMP, other kinds of electronic weapons. And so began the era of what Lynn Stringfield called the crash retrieval process, where over a period of time from the 40s up to, not that, well, it's still going on, where objects were on occasion Now the hit rate isn't that high, but where on occasion they would be able to target and hit these objects with these electromagnetic systems, and they would be damaged or destroyed or would crash. I have one man on my team who worked near Fort Huachuca, which is Army Intelligence Headquarters, and there's an underground base there. And back in the 70s, at that time, they had 9 extraterrestrial vehicles that were in storage there, and also the bodies from different species had been autopsied near Fort Huachuca, which ironically is near Tombstone, Arizona. There's some weird ironies in all of this. Now, why did I divert into all that? Because when I stepped on the stage in 1990, starting the Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind initiative, using consciousness and remote viewing to contact ETs, we stepped into a hornet's nest that had been in the making already for 40 or 50 years. And what the result of that was, I was immediately contacted by people in the intelligence community, and the former head of Army Intelligence and some NSA people who said, "What the hell do you think you're doing?" And I said, well, I'm doing exactly what I've written I'm doing. I'm going to organize teams to be citizen diplomats to these civilizations using advanced concepts in physics and consciousness. And basically I was threatened and told I shouldn't and couldn't, and I said, watch me. This was my initiation into, so now we're 23 years into me. This was in April of 1992 when this happened to me. And I was taken to a room till 3 in the morning and given the rubber hose treatment. Basically, and I turned to this guy who was on this majority committee for intelligence, Majestic, and I said, look, I'm going to do this. I'm not rich, but I'm a doctor. I don't need your money. I died when I was 17, and I know there is no death, and death is a myth, so I'm not afraid of you. And I figured out the Rosetta Stone of contact, and there's nothing you can do about it if enough people start doing it. And he went like this and looked at me and said, well, you know exactly who this son of a bitch is? This old white-haired guy said, yeah, that's right, I am that son of a bitch. And then I said a few other choice words. Hey, I'm an emergency doctor, not, you know, a new age, whatever. So, here comes the chest tube. Nice. But, you know, and I basically said, look, I've done some research on you, and I've got some documents on you that if you get in my way, you'll be in Fort Leavenworth Federal Penitentiary for the rest of your life. So leave me alone. You know, so this is that in 92. For 23 years, I've been dealing with that level of chicanery and nonsense. But the key thing to understand is the thing that launched the Disclosure Project was this. This is what launched all of it. They knew we had figured out the Rosetta Stone where people can be, every ordinary people like me and you, forget the government, high and mighties and all that, can become ambassadors from Earth to these people. And if enough people did it, this would be their ultimate nightmare because it's decentralized. See? I liken this to cosmic civil disobedience. Just like Martin Luther King with the civil rights movement, if you've seen Selma, or Gandhi, or whoever. We're owning our right to be free citizens of the earth, free our minds from the disinformation, go into the future in universal consciousness and peace, and create a time of universal peace for 500,000 years. That's our job.